Hey guys, another chapter 4 video today. 4.2 is our topic, and we are going to work on how can you use addition or subtraction to solve an inequality. So go ahead and set up those notes, make your notebook look nice. Make sure you have the topic 4.2 and the essential question written down. How's your notebook looking? Are you doing a pretty good job of organizing those notes? Are you labeling your questions and your main ideas? That essential question and date? Are you remembering the right topic and even notes? Because we are working on how do we organize that notebook and make it look good each day. So hopefully you are. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to jump into our first example. So example 1, where we're going to solve and graph the solution. So our directions today are solve and graph. And the problem that we're doing is x minus 5 is less than or equal to negative 4. So x minus 5 is less than or equal to negative 4. Take a moment and write that down in your notebook. And we're going to go through what are the steps of solving. So the steps are kind of stuff we already know how to do. Put the line down the equal sign, we always say. Well, now we're going to put the line down the inequality. And we want to get x by itself, so the minus 5 needs to be moved. What we're going to do is flip the minus 5 over, make it a positive 5. Add the 5 to the other side. And when we do that, that's the addition property because we're adding the 5. The addition property of equality is what we'd say if it was an equal sign. But since it's an inequality, we're going to say addition property of inequality. That's the slight word change there. And we're going to do our math here. Let's see, x is going to be less than or equal to a negative 4 plus 5, different sign subtract, so that's going to be 1, positive 1. And that's our answer. X is less than or equal to 1. Now, if you were like doing this on some sort of test or quiz or an exit ticket, this is your level 3 proficiency right now. Like you have solved for X, you've gotten your solution. So you've done well there. But now we want to like take it to a little bit more of an advanced level and show our solution on a graph. So that's my next step is we're going to draw a number line. And I highly recommend that you use a ruler, that you use your graph paper, and that you carefully put those scale numbers evenly on your graph paper. What we don't like is a messy number line where it's just like you just kind of quickly drew a line and quickly drew some notches and then you didn't use your graph paper. That doesn't look very good. So make it nice and neat. Put 0 in the middle, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the left. And that way you have your numbers labeled and it looks nice. So I've already got mine made. If you want to pause the video, go ahead. We're going to focus on this number line on the point that's really important to us, which is 1, because we got x is less than or equal to 1, so I'm going to circle 1. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to think for a moment. Is less than going to go to the left, or is it going to go to the right? If x is less than 1, less than or equal to 1, then the less than values are going to the left, aren't they? All the numbers to the left are less than 1, like 0, negative 1, negative 2. So when I go to shade, I am shading all the less than values. I'm going to take my pencil and just shade it to the left. If you want to use a colored pencil, that's cool. I'm going to make a big arrow going to the left because x can be anything smaller than 1. I mean, it could be like negative 1,000 if it wanted to be. And then there's an equal sign on the 1 also. So when I think about should it be an empty hole or a solid hole, I'm thinking solid. If x is less than or equal to 1, then 1, if I tested the point 1, it is equal to 1. So it is a solid point. It does work. And then there's my graph. That's my setup. So I've got my solution, I've got my graph, I've kind of got my level 4 work right now. Let's try another one. Let's do an example 2. Let's solve and graph the solution for 3 plus w is greater than 7. So go ahead and write that down. 3 plus w is greater than 7. And we're going to solve this inequality. Same strategy. We're going to put the line down the inequality, line down the middle. I always do this every time. And we want to get w all alone and isolated by itself. So what do we need to move away from w? The 3. We need to move the 3 away. So we're going to flip the 3 over. And right now the 3 is a positive 3. So when I flip it over, it becomes a negative 3. A minus 3. So it's kind of like I'm subtracting 3 away. So if I'm subtracting, it's the subtraction property of inequality. not equality. Equality would be an equal sign. Inequality because of that greater than symbol. So there's my property, subtraction property of inequality. My 3 is flipped over. My W is by itself. So W is now greater than 7 take away 3, basically. And 7 take away 3 is 4. So there's our solution. W is greater than 4. I'm going to circle it. Right on. Now, moving on to my graph. Same story as earlier. I'm going to use a ruler. I'm going to make it nice and neat. I'm going to put 0 in the middle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So again, you probably have to pause the video so you can set yours up. Now, our focus point is 4 because W is greater than 4. So I'm definitely going to go way out on my number line and circle 4. There it is. And then what I'm going to do is have to think for a moment, which direction am I going to go? Is it to the left or is it to the right? So if W is greater than 4, will it be left or right? That's the question. So let's think greater than 4. What is greater than 4? Well, greater than values would be like 5, 6, 7, 8. So we're talking to the right this time. So when I go to grab my colored pencil and shade, I'm going to shade off to the right-hand side. I don't have a lot of space on this little graph that I made, so my number line, I'm just going to make a big arrow going to the right. What about the point itself at 4? If it's W is greater than 4 and I test the point 4, is 4 greater than 4? No, it's equal to 4, and there's no equal sign in this problem. So we're going to be leaving this as an empty hole. And that's going to be our final solution. Empty hole at 4, shaded to the right, because that's all the greater than values. And we're done. All right. Oh, yeah, don't forget, if 4 is not greater than 4, put a little slash through that inequality. And then I think we're ready to move on. So it's a you try time. Let's test it out and see if you've got the hang of this. So you are going to solve and graph the solution, kind of practicing the same process we just did. And your problem is negative 6 is greater than or equal to x minus 2. So right now, I'd like you to write it down and hit the pause button on your device and see if you can solve this on your own without my help. And this is the way you really prepare yourself to actually be able to do this on your own. So hit the pause button, give it a try, and then check your answer when you're ready. Okay, are you unpausing your device at this point? I hope so, because we're going to check answers. So are you ready to check your answer and see if you could do this on your own? Here's what you should have. You should have the line down the middle. We're trying to get x by itself this time. X is on the right instead of the left, but that's not a big deal. We'll just take that minus 2 and flip it over. It's going to be a positive 2 on the other side. Positive means we're adding the 2, so addition property of inequality. But that gets x all by itself, which is what we want. So x is now less than or equal to negative 6 plus 2. Let's see, negative 6 plus 2 is different sign subtract, so that's going to be a 4, a negative 4. There's our solution. So our x is less than or equal to negative 4, or negative 4 is greater than or equal to x, however you want to read that. Now on my number line, which you already did on your own before you unpause the video, I'm going to circle negative 4 and focus on that point. This one's a little trickier for the shading because x is on the right instead of the left-hand side of the symbol. So I'm just going to test some points here. I'm going to go out to the right-hand side and I'm going to test 1 just to see is 1 work in this equation. So is negative 4 greater than or equal to 1? Okay. And now I'm going to test the left-hand side. I'll go out to like negative 5 or something. Is negative 4 greater than or equal to negative 5? Which one of these is true? Is negative 4 greater than negative 5, or is negative 4 greater than a positive 1? Well, it's not greater than a positive 1, is it? So that fails. I think that's a fail on the right. I think the left, negative 4 is greater than negative 5. I think that's the pass. So we're going to shade to the left. And then the whole itself, because of that equal sign, negative 4 is greater than or equal to x. If I test negative 4, it's not greater than negative 4, but it is equal, and there is an equal sign. So we're going to fill it in solid. And that's what your graph should look like. So how did you do? Did you get the same thing as me? Did you shade in the right direction to the left-hand side? That's the trickiest part on this one, I think, is figuring out which way to shade. And there you have it. Now, if you made any mistakes, look back at your work and kind of see what was the mistake so you don't do it again. Kind of correct that mistake inside your head. And we're going to wrap up this video with a quick summary now. So for our summary notes, Our main idea today was how to just solve these one-step inequalities. Now I'm calling them one step because you only have one move to do. You're either adding or subtracting to the other side. So remember, always draw the line down the middle and graph it on a number line. That's your advanced level 4 work right there, proving your answer graphically. So those are kind of the main ideas today. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll definitely see you in the next video. Have an excellent day. Bye.